Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. So I'm doing something a little bit different for the next couple of episodes. What I'm going to do is replay some of the most popular episodes over the last year in the lead up to episode 500. Don't worry, still the same great content, just a couple replays. Episode 500 will be amazing, I guarantee it. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And you know what day it is. That's right, it's Friday. Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Yesterday was Thursday. Tomorrow is Saturday. Something Friday. I don't know why I decided to do a spoken word version of that absolutely horrible, horrible song. But you know what? It just happened, and I'm leaving this in here. I am not going to stop the recording and go back and restart so that you don't have to listen to that. Because if I had to listen to it, and I didn't know it was going to happen, you've got to listen to it as well. Hopefully you're still listening. Because the actual thing is, yes, it's Friday, which means it's the Ask Me Anything. And I've got a couple of very interesting questions this week. The first of which, Darryl, is this for real? And it links over to an article from the Arizona Capitol Times. Headline: Arizona Senate votes to seize assets of those who participate in protests that turn violent. And what they should have done here is use the word "and" instead of just having a comma, especially for those who are reading this vocally. So yes, there was a bill that would have, if adopted, among other things, allowed confiscation of property belonging to anyone who was convicted of the offense of conspiracy. Now, that sounds bad, right? Conspiracy? You're conspiring with people? Well, let's actually read what the proposal is here. A person commits conspiracy if, with the intent to promote or aid the commission of an offense, such person agrees with one or more persons that at least one of them or another person will engage in conduct constituting the offense, and one of the parties commits an overt act in furthering of the offense. Doesn't matter what the offense is. If you and somebody else talk about it, and then you do it, then you have committed conspiracy. They then go on to define some terms, one of which would be expanded, and this is the relevant part. Expand the definition of riot. A person commits riot if, with two or more other persons acting together, such person recklessly uses force or violence or threatens to use force or violence if such threat is accompanied by immediate power of execution. That, if they ended the definition there, I don't think anyone would have a problem with that definition. However, they continue to define it by saying, which either disturbs the public peace or results in damage to the property of another person. So you could disturb the public peace by simply protesting. In fact, in New Hampshire, where I live, and yes, I know that this bill is something that was being considered in Arizona, but in New Hampshire, every offense, it doesn't matter what it is, every offense, when they read the official charge in court, is against the peace and dignity of the state. So, in Arizona, they were considering expanding the definition of riot to be something where you disturb the public peace if two or more people are acting together. Well, luckily, the bill wound up being killed in a sense. Senate Bill 1142, and I will post the link to the article from the Arizona Capitol Times that discussed everything in the bill, and they've got quotes from various senators and representatives. But there's been an update. And actually, you know what? Before I give the update, I'll just go ahead and read some of the article here from the Arizona Capitol Times. Article begins claiming people are being paid to riot. Republican state senators voted to give police new power to arrest anyone who is involved in a peaceful demonstration that may turn bad even before anything actually happens. You heard that right. That may. So we think that something might happen, so therefore we're going to arrest anyone that is here, even if nothing bad happened yet. And also, further, because of that definition of conspiracy, if you're at a protest and someone else does something that is violent, then you could be charged with an offense because you were there. Doesn't matter that you didn't know that that person was going to do something, but you were there, so therefore guilt by association, and now we take your stuff. SB 1142 would expand the state's racketeering laws, which are currently aimed at organized crime, to also include rioting, and it redefines what constitutes rioting to include actions that result in the damage to property of others. Again, also includes the term disturbing the public peace. Continuing now with the article, but the real heart of the legislation is what Democrats say is guilt by association, and giving the government the right to criminally prosecute and seize the assets of everyone who planned or participated in a protest. There's more. But of course, there's good news. Stay tuned here to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, this is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've been working with computer programmer Derek Slopey to create Fiend Phone. I'm using Fiend Phone right now to talk with and record one of my co-hosts in real time. Take it, Davi.
Hey, this is Davi Barker, and I'm 1,000 miles away from Michael, but we sound like we're in the same room.
We sure do, Davi. So, Davi, please tell the nice people more about Fiend Phone.
Fiend Phone is free, open-source software that opens up a global world of possibilities for collaborative, high-quality remote voice media production, and I'm digging it.
People can try the Windows beta version of Fiend Phone right now at fiendphone.com. But we're also raising money to vastly improve Fiend Phone and vastly improve independent talk media worldwide.
So go to fiendphone.com to help out. Who will build the audio roads? We will, with your help.
That's fiendphone.com. FEENPHONE.com. Foxtrot, Echo, November, phone.com.
Fiend Phone. I never knew remote audio could be this good.
This is Paige Peterson from MaidSafe, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism, answering your questions. The question was, Darryl, is this real? With a link over to an article from the Arizona Capitol Times titled, Arizona Senate votes to seize assets of those who plan or participate in protest that, the headline says, turn violent. The article, with quotes from Democratic senators, says that it doesn't even have to turn violent, just has to have the potential to turn violent. And what's worse, according to Senator Steve Farley of Tucson, is that a person who may have broken a window, triggering the claim that there was a riot, might actually not be a member of the group, but someone from the other side. So, let's give an example here. Let's say that you and I are at a 420 rally, advocating for allow cannabis to be as legal as tomatoes. That is, no special taxes, no special regulations. Somebody shows up that they're like, you know what? I want all these pot-smoking hippies to go to jail. They pick up a trash can, throw it through a window, and now everybody that's there as part of the protest winds up getting arrested if this were to go through. Well, the person that picked up the trash can, smashed the window, was not part of our rally, was not part of our protest, but yet, because something happened, everybody involved in the protest gets arrested. That's what was being proposed here. Senator Martin Quezada of Phoenix acknowledged that sometimes what's planned as a peaceful demonstration can go south. Quote, when people want to express themselves as a group during a time of turmoil, during a time of controversy, during a time of high emotions, that's exactly when people gather as a community. Sometimes they yell, sometimes they scream, sometimes they go too far. Quezada said, though, that everything that constitutes rioting already is a crime, ranging from assault to criminal damage, and those responsible can already be prosecuted. He said the purpose of SB 1142 appears to be designed to chill the First Amendment rights of people that decide to demonstrate in the first place for fear that something could go wrong. There's more from this article from the Arizona Capital Times, but I'll jump to the update. The update comes from AZ Central, which is the website for the Arizona Republic, dated February 27th. The original story dated February 22nd. Headline from the Arizona Republic: Arizona House Speaker declares controversial protest bill dead. You heard that right. The Speaker of the House in Arizona has declared this bill dead. It went through the Senate, but has died in the House. The update: Governor Doug Ducey and the Republican leaders of the Arizona House declared dead a controversial bill that would punish organizers of protest that turned violent with racketeering charges. SB 1142's demise came as it gained national attention and was widely panned as an unconstitutional attempt to silence liberal groups protesting Donald Trump and congressional Republicans. Its fate was sealed over the weekend as House Speaker J.D. Mesnard, a Republican from Chandler, fielded phone calls from the public to complain about the bill. The House leader's personal cell phone number was listed on his personal website. Good! Good! They should put their personal cell phone numbers on their websites. Here in New Hampshire, where I happen to live, the state reps that have a telephone number listed on the state website, 9 times out of 10, it's either their cell phone or their house. You call it, you might wind up having some little kid answer the phone and say, hold on while I go get my mom or dad, depending on if the state rep is a man or a woman. So, very easy to get a hold of these people, at least here in New Hampshire, and I'm glad people were able to get a hold of this guy in Arizona. The article from the Arizona Republic continues. As he listened to the callers, Mesnard realized their beliefs that the legislation was intended to curb free speech rights outweighed any merit that supporters of the bill might put forward. He carefully read the legislation, and by the time he returned on Monday to his office, where there were more than 100 messages about the bill waiting on him, he decided he would kill the measure. He said in an interview with the Arizona Republic on Monday, at the end of the day, I think that people need to know that we're not about limiting people's rights. The sponsor is not about it. The governor is not about it. The government is not about that. The most efficient, expedient way to communicate that is to kill this bill. Now, let me pause here. Representative Mesnard has more to say, but let me pause to say that if Representative Mesnard thinks that the government is not there to limit rights, he hasn't been paying attention, because that's what governments have been doing basically since governments existed for several thousand years. Every time governments get together, yet they might wind up, recognizing some right here or there, but for the most part, what they do is they limit rights. Now, yes, there is more human freedom today than there was, say, 200 years ago, but there are also certain aspects of our lives that are more regulated now than they were 200 years ago. 200 years ago. And some of these things, it's only been within the last 50, 60, 70 years. But 200 years ago, if you wanted to get married to the love of your life, you did not need to go down to the courthouse or to City Hall or to Town Hall and ask for a piece of paper. If you did anything other than just, moving in with them, you may have gone to your church and told the minister, I want to marry this lovely woman. And the preacher might have a ceremony and then write something in the family Bible. There were no government documents. 200 years ago, you could grow cannabis and nobody said anything. Now you try to do it. In certain states, you go to jail. In other states, you've got to notify a government agent. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. I'll continue ranting about human freedom and how governments do indeed limit them in just a moment. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about the wonderful people at Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. For 40 years, going back to 1977, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. And if you've not looked at the prices lately of either precious metals, gold and silver, or Bitcoin, you might be in for a surprise when I tell you that one Bitcoin is now valued higher than 1 ounce of gold. You heard that right. One Bitcoin is more valuable than 1 ounce of gold. So you want to get your hands on some of that gold? Maybe you bought some Bitcoin back in 2012, 2013. You've not looked at it in a long time. Yeah, maybe cash some of that in for some actual hard assets. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760. That's 800-874-9760. Or visit online at rrbi.co. That's RRBI, as in Roberts and Roberts, Brokerage Incorporated, RRBI.co. Back to the article, I will end the rant on how governments wind up limiting human freedom. But just look at it, that's what they do. I forget who said it. I think it's often attributed to either Will Rogers or Mark Twain that no man's life or liberty is safe when Congress is in session. The article from the Arizona Republic continues with a quote from Arizona Speaker J.D. Mesnard, who says, "Optics are important, and you don't ignore the fact that a bill, rightly or wrongly, is perceived as something we don't want to do. It doesn't matter what it does. This is the widespread belief about it, and the belief itself is harmful." Well, the belief, Mr. Mesnard, is accurate if you read the bill, and I will post a link in the show notes to where you can read the bill if you want to. You read the bill, you will see that, yes, they will be using this if it would have passed. Luckily, it's dead, ... for now. But this bill, if it passes at some future date, will be used to curb free speech. The author of this article at the Arizona Republic rightly points out that rioting is already illegal under Arizona law, but SB 1142 would have expanded racketeering laws to include rioting, would have also allowed protest organizers to be prosecuted if someone else was doing the rioting, even if that individual was not part of the protest that was organized. The measure could also let law enforcement prosecute organizers for planning an event that could result in a riot. There's more to this article. As always, the links will be in the show notes, but let's change gears here and move on to the next question. Question: did I post an AMA question yesterday, or was that a dream? And I responded, well, you did tag me in something, and here is the post. And the response was, that's not it. I thought I posted something about dirt. I must have been dreaming. But this person did actually tag me in something that was a question. And the question was, is this true? If so, why? And it's a meme. A meme shared by Mr. Bernie Sanders. That's Senator Bernie Sanders to some, former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders to other. But the meme here is a picture of, and basically it's a picture with some words on it. It says, drug prices, Canada versus U.S. EpiPen in Canada, $293. In the U.S., $638. Crestor, which is something for high cholesterol, Canada price is $200. U.S. it's $779. There are several other things listed here, and all of them, the U.S. price is considerably higher. So the question was, is this true? If so, why? My response, and I did respond on the Facebook post, but I'll also respond here. My response is, this is a multifaceted issue. Lots of problems here. It's a multi-layer problem, was my exact words. Canada has a government-run healthcare system where the government sets prices, meaning that the Canadian government tells pharmacies and doctors how much they can charge, what they're allowed to charge, when they can charge it, and where and how, etc. In the U.S., not so much. But then another problem, and this is not something that I mentioned here, well, kind of, there are patents in the U.S. that prevent generic versions from coming to market to reduce the price. So, for example, with the EpiPen, and yes, the patent exists in Canada for the EpiPen as well, but see number 1 with price controls. But the EpiPen, there's one company that can make it, and the FDA has hindered all options or every attempt to make a generic version of the EpiPen. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Closing moments. I will do my best to finish answering the question here about, is it true that drugs are a lot cheaper in Canada? If so, why? And there's actually a article from time.com that I will not have time to get into too deeply, but they do mention 5 problems or 5 key findings from the Journal of American Medicine, or rather the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA. What they found is that drug manufacturers in the U.S. set their own prices, and that's not the norm elsewhere in the world. So that's the first thing that I mentioned, is Canada, there's the price fixing. They also mention that there are government-protected monopolies for certain drugs. So the patents. In an effort to promote innovation, the U.S. has a patent system. Listen to this again. In an effort to promote innovation, the U.S. has a patent system that allows drug manufacturers to retain control, sole manufacturing of the drug, for about 20 years. The FDA also gives drug manufacturers exclusivity for certain products, including those that treat people with rare diseases. One of those certain products, the EpiPen. But some drug companies deploy questionable strategies to maintain their monopolies. The tactics vary, but they include slightly tweaking the non-therapeutic parts of the drug, such as pill coating, to game the patent system, and pay larger pay-for-delay settlements to generic manufacturers who sue them over these patents. The FDA takes a long time to approve generic drugs. Application backlogs at the FDA have led to delays of 3 to 4 years before generic manufacturers can win approval to make drugs not protected by patents. And then you also run into the third item here, is that some state laws and other well-intentioned federal policies limit the ability for people to get generics. They write here, pharmacists in 26 states are required by law to get patient consent before switching to a generic drug. This reportedly cost Medicaid $19 million in 2006 for just one drug. Cost ran higher because pharmacists did not get patient consent and Medicaid had to pay for the costlier brand names. There is more to this, and as always, link will be in the show notes. And don't forget, every Friday I answer your questions. Send those over ama@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.